In this video, I will demonstrate the creation of the FuelEU report based on the voyages and port emissions registered previously on the ship page. The creation of the FuelEU report can be triggered either on my fleet page using Actions menu, or alternative option is available also on the ship page. Let's use this ship as an example for the creation of the FuelEU report in this tutorial. However, before we start, the important step is to check if the verifier is assigned to the ship under FuelEU scope. On my fleet page, we look for the ship, which we will use as an example, and click Actions, Ship, Edit. On the Verifier tab, we can see that verifiers are assigned to the ship under both legal scopes, MRV ETS and FuelEU Maritime. This means that we can continue with the creation of the FuelEU report. Since the ship page is already open, there is no need to return to my fleet, because we can use the following menu here. Note that the creation of the FuelEU report can also be triggered on my fleet page by using the Actions button of the ship. After clicking Create New, the system asks to select the reporting period for the FuelEU report. After selecting the year, you can choose whether you are creating a report for the full reporting period or partial. For the purposes of this tutorial, we will create a full year report. In case of the partial FuelEU report, the checkbox Partial reporting not covering the full reporting period enables the calendar fields to choose from and to dates to define a partial period. Please remember that companies should release the ship from their fleet under FuelEU scope only after the partial FuelEU report is submitted. Coming back to our example, the system displays a warning message to confirm the reporting period selected, because you won't be able to change it afterwards without deleting the whole report. We click Confirm, and then the system displays the FuelEU report. Now let's go through the available tabs. FuelEU Particulars tab shows the information such as the creation date, the reporting period, version. Important information as the status of the report and deadline for the submission can also be found here. Ship Company and Verifier Details tab collects the information related to the ship from the ship record, including ship owner, company responsible for FuelEU compliance, and also the FuelEU verifier. Using the buttons Update from Ship Data in all sections on this tab can be updated from the ship record in case any changes were made at the ship level. On Fuel Consumers tab, by clicking the button Load Table from FuelEU MP, you can populate the table from the FuelEU monitoring plan. For each record in this table, you can click Actions, View, to display a window with details of the chosen fuel consumer. Note that this information is loaded from the FuelEU monitoring plan, and therefore, in case any corrections are needed, changes should be performed in the monitoring plan. Annual Monitoring Results tab displays the summary of information reported in the ship's voyages and ports emissions. Here you can find multiple subtabs populated with data loaded from the ship page. We advise you to check all the data in different subtabs to make sure it is complete before the submission of the report. For the purpose of this tutorial, I will highlight some of the subtabs that need special attention from your side. Subtab Wind Ice Parameters is important for the application of wind and ice derogation purposes. You would need to specify which type of derogation is applicable to your ship during the reporting period, regardless of the information already stated in the ship page. By clicking the button Edit, you can select which types of derogations are applicable. The first option, Benefit from Ice Class under FuelEU Annex 5, is already checked, because this is an ice class ship. Regarding the other two derogation options, you can choose to select or not. In our example, since the ship has reported voyages through ice, we need to make sure that system considers in the calculations the additional energy due to sailing in ice conditions. Therefore, we select the option Benefit from Sailing in Ice under FuelEU Annex 5. The warning message is informing you about the data which needs to be reported in order to benefit from this derogation. Also, in our example, we are selecting the last option, benefit from wind factor under FuelEU Annex 1. In the second table, we need to add the power of the wind and power of propulsion values by clicking the Edit button. The system displays the table with the derogations that are now applicable to our ship, and the table below is updated with the calculated values. Now let's open the Annual Energy Consumption tab. The Annual Energy Consumption subtab presents the energy in scope under FuelEU Maritime Regulation. This table summarizes the energies related to the reporting period and calculates the energy in scope under FuelEU Regulation. The records are sorted depending on the energy GHG intensity, so that more advantageous fuels with less intensity of carbon are placed at the top, and further down in ascending order, more GHG-intense fuels appear. Any changes or corrections for the energy consumption shall be done in the source data, which is voyages and ports emissions reported in the ship page. The Total subtab displays the segregation of the energies according to activities and differentiating criteria, and also the energy related to RFNBO, OPS, SSE, and Z, and ICE derogations. Edit button allows you to make any corrections of the values in this table if necessary. Therefore, it is possible for the company to submit the FuelEU report with their own values. However, in case you don't rely on the system calculations, you should not forget to revise the values for the GHG intensity, as it should be in accordance with your input data. A new window with editable fields opens and you are able to change any value. Let's change, for example, this value here, and after all the necessary corrections are done, click the Save button. You can notice that system highlights in blue bold the values that have been updated. If you prefer to go back to the system calculations, you can do the following. Click the Edit, and then click Reset button, and then Save. The Figures subtab displays two charts, fuel consumption per fuel type, segregated per voyage, or port activity, while the second chart displays the energy consumer per SSE, segregated per voyage or port activity. Distance and Time tab displays the aggregated information reported in the voyages and port emissions of the ship. In the Voluntary Reporting tab, you can find an open text box which you can fill in for communication purposes to facilitate the understanding of the FuelEU report. Let's go back to FuelEU Report and to the tab FuelEU Report Revision. In this tab, you can find the revisions of the report, and at any moment, you can also generate a new revision by clicking the button Generate FuelEU Report Document Version. In this window, you can add any free text observations in reference to this revision if needed. Click Save and the revision is generated. You will notice that some revisions are created automatically by the system, for example, when company submits a report to the verifier. Docs tab allows you to upload any additional files in your FuelEU report by clicking Add Document button. There are three more tabs in FuelEU report which we've skipped in our presentation so far because they are dedicated to the verification process and will be filled in by the verifier after you submit the report for verification. These tabs are Verification Findings, Verification Report Revision, and Energy GHG Intensity. Those tabs will be explained in details in the dedicated tutorial for verifiers. So now, when we have finalized the FuelEU report from the company's perspective, it is time to submit the report for verification by clicking the button Submit to Verifier. The confirmation window appears, informing us that once the FuelEU report is submitted, the company user won't be able to amend it unless verifier returns it back to the company for revision. Let's click Confirm. Notice that FuelEU report status has changed to Submitted to Verifier. A FuelEU report revision has been generated as well, which we can see in the FuelEU Report Revision tab. Now, if we go back to My Fleet page, we can notice that the status change of the FuelEU report for the reporting period 2025 is visible here as well. Now, company shall wait for the verifier to perform the verification of the report. Please note that the FuelEU report submission to verifier shall be made by January 31st of the next reporting year.